talking about how you can tame your wild Jira instance using ScriptRunner behaviors and show you the many benefits that come with a well-organized and efficient Jira Cloud instance. So today we have with us Shabirah, our engineering lead for ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud, and Karl, our product manager, and myself as the product marketing manager for the team. Before we get started, I wanted to remind everybody a few housekeeping bits. So if you have any questions as we go through the slides, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom on the Zoom bar. You can also choose to drop any questions you might have or comments in the chat. We have some ScriptRunner team members handling that. My colleagues will also be posting relevant links throughout the webinar. So keep your eyes peeled for that. They will be relevant to the slides we present. And for those of you that would like to revisit the content for today or miss the webinar, we'll be sharing the recording afterwards and a written version of the content with all the resources, including demos and scripts that we'll mention in case you prefer to consume this type of content this way. So before we jump into the agenda, let's go into the next slide. We'd like to share a little poll with you, especially for those in the room that might have already tried behaviors, if you're getting the most out of it at the moment. And I already see answers coming in. They're kind of balanced out between the yes, I love it, and I've used it a little, but I like to leverage it more in my instance, which is great news because we're about to, let me click on share results so everybody can see. Yeah, so we're about to give you some tips on how to do just that. In fact, with what a wild or chaotic Jira instance could look like and the consequences of administrating that type of environment. Then we're going to move into how you can start taking control over your fields by cultivating a more productive environment in Jira. And then we're going to be wrapping up with a few updates and ways in which you can start achieving more with the ScriptRunner behaviors. So let's imagine for a moment you're a Jira admin or perhaps a consultant handling someone else's instance or instances. You probably feel as if Jira Cloud is missing potential for organizing fields and information, since without a proper way to do that, it's hard to align your instance with your business rules. You probably find yourself in a position where your teams are overloaded with information, and they also tend to make mistakes pretty often when they have to provide any type of information within Jira, or get confused when they have to create new issues. And if you feel identified with the previous 2 points, you will most likely find the third one familiar as well, since working with that level of confusion and misalignment inevitably leads to an environment of bad collaboration and low productivity and efficiency for yourself and for your team members, for your organization, or the people you work with. So now that you have an idea of how a wild Jira instance does or could look like for you, we'd like to hear from your own experience. So I think my colleague just launched a second poll for you to share your view with us. And I will give you a few more seconds to reply. So I see the percentages is still moving, but it's looking like a good number of you are struggling at the moment to enforce business rules in Jira. Again, great news, because this is why we are here, to provide you with ways in which you can face that challenge. And I'm also very happy to see that others find it very easy, and you have your existing tools in place to help you customize your Jira fields. So I'm gonna again share the results just of your Jira field, so we can provide you with the necessary information to face this type of challenge. So for those of you who haven't heard of it before, although I imagine most of you have, about ScriptRunner in particular. ScriptRunner is the market leader when it comes to extending your Jira Cloud capabilities beyond what's possible natively. And part of that actually has to do with the many use cases it can solve for you to make that experience easier, more customized, and automated. As you might have guessed by the title of this webinar, today we're focusing on behaviors, which is one of the key features for ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud, which can assist you with decluttering your issue screens. But ScriptRunner can also help you enabling other use cases too. I'm gonna show you the rest of the slide, like aligning auto-resolving closed issues in one go through script listeners, or displaying informational calculations automatically with the scripted fields, automatically creating a set of subtasks when a parent issue is created with workflows, and much more. What else can behaviors do for you in Jira Cloud, you might be asking yourself? Behaviors can actually bring structure to your instance by customizing your fields with if-then conditions. It can also align your business rules with Jira issue create, view, and transition screens. And you can also rely on it to determine which journey your users should be following at each step, by project, by issue type, etc. Here are some of the most popular use cases in behaviors. You can really use it to do anything from making fields editable by a specific user, but read only for everyone else. You can also rely on it to prefill a template on a description field based on issue type or project. You can make fields mandatory based on the selection of another field, and many others you can see here. So in short, with behaviors, you can expect to be able to prune with precision by removing unnecessary fields from view, keeping screens clean and focused for everyone in your instance. You can also cultivate conditional growth by strategically revealing fields based on conditions. A good example of this actually would be showing a custom field based on the selection of another one, or to set a field value based on another supported field, like we just showed in the previous slide. Behaviors also enables you and your teams to nurture user-specific experiences by tailoring fields to specific user groups or user roles, ensuring that everyone can only see the information that's relevant to their tasks. And behaviors also allows you to get your landscape organized efficiently by helping you create templates for repetitive tasks, reducing manual work, and improving productivity. So enough talking on my side for now. Let's see how this can actually look like when it applies to real customer use cases. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Shabirah, now.
Thanks, Maria. Hi, everyone. I'm Shabirah. Welcome to the demo portion of today's webinar. So today we'll explore ways to tame your wild Jira instance by controlling your custom fields when creating, viewing, and transitioning an issue using behaviors. So think of behaviors as a gardener's tools helping to nurture your instance, to prune unnecessary complexities, and to basically guide your users through relevant prompts at just the right time. So we make this process easy through our pre-configured templates and autocompletes. So it's easy to create a behavior even for those without scripting skills. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll showcase 6 behaviors packed into 3 different use cases, each addressing a unique business need. And at the end, please stick around for an exclusive sneak peek at the new Behaviours user interface, which is set to be released very soon. This will beautify and optimize your behaviors management experience. So let's continue and look at the different use cases for this demo. Right. So the first use case I'm going to show is how to create a description template based on your issue type. Also showcasing making fields read-only in specific workflow steps. The second use case will showcase, which Maria mentioned previously, one of the popular examples showing a custom field based on the selection of another custom field, and also within that same example, marking fields as required or visible. And the third example, or the third use case, will basically show a custom field, showing a custom field based on a workflow transition and based on that current user's groups that's configured. So let's maybe dive into the first demo. Okay, so for this particular use case, as a Jira admin, you want to assist Jira Cloud users with the creation of epics for a new fictional app called Leaflet. So you're doing so by setting up a default description that can help users fill out the necessary information for all epics under this specific project. So let's take a look at this in action. Right, let's take a look at this first scenario. Imagine you're in a company brainstorming ideas for, let's say, product discovery for a new app called Leaflet. Here's when you want to guide users as they create epics. Wouldn't it be great if the description field already had a preloaded suggestion? So they can structure the ideas. As you can see, the description field is populated using a behavior. This encourages users to think about the objectives, business values, key requirements, and acceptance criteria right from the get-go. So if we go into the particular behavior settings for this example, which is number 1, this is set to run across multiple projects, as you'll see in this behaviors configuration, and also across a few different issue types. But in the behavior script, as we can see, this is where the magic happens. We target the specific project called Leaflet Product Discovery, and also that particular issue type. And it's also set to run on load and on change in the create view. Our script also ensures that we don't overwrite any existing content in that description field. This means I can configure templates for various combinations of issue types, projects, and also unique business conditions within my script. Okay, so if we want to take this particular example a step further, I want to grow this workflow. Let's look at an existing issue created within this particular project called something for smart reminders, which is a proposal. As you can see, this particular description or template has already been populated by a user on create. Right, and then there's a field just below it called business justification. Okay, this field, as you can see, if I click into it, it's editable for this particular step in the workflow, which is review. Right, if we basically have a look at all of the workflow steps for this particular project, if the epic enters an approved state, which is after review, we'll make this particular field for business justification read only. Why? To protect the integrity of this proposal after approval. So let's take a look. I'm going to drag in this example, this from in review to approved. And then going into the issue, you can see if I click on business justification, this is now read only, right? So this reduces the risk of scope creep. Okay. So now let's have a look, or let's dive into our second use case. Okay. For this use case, as a Jira admin, I want to ensure that every time a support request issue type is created under a specific project, the user can select which type of component is required for that request. And if the request is marked as urgent, a second tab with escalation details is triggered that needs to be filled in by the user that made this request. So think of conditional fields as your gardener's trellis system supporting users through this dynamic form customizations. And this works beautifully in support or bug feedback workflows. So for this one, let's also have a look, take a look at this in action. Right. So when we're creating a particular issue for a leaflet app support project and for a specific work type called the support request work type, as you can see, I have a components field. If I select the feedback component, instantly an urgency checkbox appears through our first behavior. Let's take this further with this example. Once a user clicks the yes, this is urgent, a different behavior triggers, which brings into focus escalation details tab. Within this, fields are dynamically toggled based on the escalation team that is chosen. Right, so for this example, if you're selecting support, you'll see customer query, license number required fields, and proposed solution is optional. If I'm selecting marketing, customer query and pricing tier are marked as required. So the other fields are made invisible. And then for engineering, we've got customer query, proposed solution, and solution difficulty are fields that are required to be filled in by this user. Okay, so this allows the user's context to drive relevancy for the fields that we want to appear, to hide, or to mark as required. And then going back into the behaviors tab and looking at, we have 3 behaviors, 3, 4, and 5 as example for this use case. They're all configured against that particular project on change event in create and issue views. So for the first one, this toggles the urgency checkbox to set it visible when feedback is selected for this component, as you can see in the script. Right, or alternatively turns it off or disables it. Then the second one, this triggers the urgency checkbox when it's ticked. So we check if there's a value present, there's only one value, and we make use of our newly supported screen tab API. So basically we can focus on the escalation details tab using the .focus method. And we got our really cool code completions, which as you start typing the name of the tab, you'll see it appear in our code completions and you can actually select it. And once selected, we automatically input the screen tab ID as a parameter. Right. Looking at our third behavior, this is the one that toggles the different fields on the escalation tab's screen. So all of those fields that I showed you before, these will be toggled based on the team, escalation team field value that is selected. So you'll see based on engineering team, support team, or marketing team, we're either going to set it visible, true or false, or set it required. Alternatively, we just default it to some default values as well. Right, so that was the second use case, and now let's dive into the third use case. Right, so for this one, as a Jira admin, I want for team leads to fill out release notes or release note details when a story or task is moved from in progress to done. So other users won't be able to edit this field, and it will only be required for team leads. And let's also take a look at this example in action. Right, so following on from our leaflet app example, picture an engineer on the leaflet app engineering team transitioning an issue or a task or story to done. What if we mandate the release notes field to be required, but only for team leads? In my example, for my particular user, it's configured, as you can see on the screen at the bottom, to be part of the team leads group, which I'll showcase later in the behavior settings. Okay, so when I move this particular issue that I already created from in progress, or it's in to do, but from to do to in progress, and from in progress to done, you'll see the issue transition screen configured appear. Right, and as you can see, the behaviors executing and marking release notes as required. And I'm going to put in some release notes and update that issue. And as you can see, it's moved to done. Right, so we tailor these requirements not only by transition status, but also by user group. Okay, so let's also now take a look at the behavior setting for this particular example. So it's the last one, number 6 in our list. So this particular behavior is set to run against project leaflet engineering project, as you can see, and then also issue types, tasks, and stories. And if we go into the script, we can see that the transition ID is retrieved from the context. And based on our transition from in progress to done, we run this particular behavior. We get that release notes fields, as you've seen before. And we also get the user's current information, including the user groups. And we check if this particular user is allowed to see that particular field and mark it as required. So if they're in the team leads group, set this to visible and set it to required. Okay, so with these tweaks, you ensure that compliance, you minimize clutter, and you add much needed focus, cultivating efficiency across your Jira workflows. Yeah, so that is it for the 3 demos. And now onto the much anticipated sneak peek. Right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so before we wrap up, let me reward your patience with a sneak peek at our upcoming behaviors user interface enhancements. We're giving you an entirely fresh, sleek experience. So here's it at a glance. So as you can see, we'll be adding powerful filtering on affected fields, projects, and issue types. We'll also be implementing fast search functionality, including sorting on behavior name. Not just that, you'll see informative tags for all your important fields that you can see immediately with clever tooltips. This is also present on behavior scripts for affected fields. Right. We're also adding convenient action items, including copying your UUID for a behavior, and also enabling and disabling directly from this screen. Okay, not just that, when you create a behavior, there's also going to be support, not just for all projects, but alternatively for all issue types, so you can toggle between the two. Okay, so think of this as our effort to prune and streamline everything about managing behaviors. And in closing, as you've seen today, behaviors are your garden shears for Jira, helping you prune, structure, and empower your users. So I hope you guys try these examples today. There'll be some useful links at the end of this webinar. And don't forget to look out for the new behaviors experience coming soon. Thank you and happy scripting.
Thank you, Shabirah. That looks great, and I can't wait myself to have those UX improvements released, because yeah, it's going to make behavior so much easier to use, really. So we have one part of the agenda still left to go through, which is like ways in which we can achieve more with the ScriptRunner behaviors. So I'm going to hand over to Karl to take us through that.
If you can bring up all of the points, we'll converse through them. So yeah, we've put some examples up there. Some of the benefits of a more organized Jira cloud instance, as you can see up on the screen there. One of them is making behaviors fit your existing processes, not the other way around. Now, there will be times where, you know, the use case is so unique, you maybe do need to find a workaround, but the way behaviors is designed is to fit your existing business processes, and then to find out a way that we can help those and keep those in place as well. It's built as a sort of fire and forget mechanism as well. So once that behavior is written, it's there and it'll run constantly. So you don't need to check on it. You don't need to always run a behavior. It's there. Once it's done, it'll be in your Jira instance. So whatever you've designed it to do, it'll just keep on doing that one. The other thing is telling users what you need from them from day one. So no ambiguity in the Jira fields, as Shabirah showed some of the examples there. When something's urgent and you need more information, you can enable it so that it tells them that you need the information straight away. It'll reduce the amount of unnecessary messaging and contact and updating of tickets that way as well. And it'll tell your users exactly the level of information that you need the moment that they go into the instance. There's a huge reduction in manual effort as well. Now, we know when it comes to manual effort, lots of things can not happen. The effort cannot happen. So if you need users to do something manually, people can forget, people can diarize it, people can not do it when you need them to do it. And the more times somebody does something manual, it'll just increase the chances of getting it wrong as well. So by taking that that manual effort out of it, not only do you ensure that it happens automatically, you'll reduce the amount of errors that are made whilst in your Jira instance. Also, as users, we always have a really good idea of how something should work. You know, we know our systems and we know our processes better than anybody. So when you add behaviors onto that, the way that behaviors is designed is that it's built intuitively. So if you think something should work in a particular way and that's the best way to do it, you'll be able to customize the behavior to work intuitively with your processes. And again, the last one there about improving data quality, you know, again, consistently reducing the manual effort. Stop giving people the chance to make mistakes. You know, if the way we can design behaviors is to basically get the right information right first time, and stop the frustration from users inputting incorrect data and then us as Jira admins having to chase it as well. That's it, Maria.
All right. We also have a pretty exciting news for you. So for everybody that registered for the webinar, and in particular we have something for everybody actually. So for new customers, if you decide to sign up to this exclusive offer, you'll get 6 months free a license for ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud, and with that access to Behaviours, which is a companion app for ScriptRunner. And for existing customers, I know we're getting some today on the call. The 10 first customers that sign up to our offer will get a chance to get a call with a customer success rep and a free behaviors script just to get started if you haven't quite explored behaviors just yet, or you just need some help with one of your use cases. So you can either scan the QR code directly or use the URL under here. We'll send it anyway, and I think one of my colleagues is actually sending it on the chat as I speak, so that's great. All right. I I'm gonna pass the mic back to you, Karl, so you can cover what's new in behaviors.
Yeah, and some of this, I've seen some of the questions as well, so we can go through those at the end. So yeah, we've had lots of support recently released for the UIM in behaviors, which we've been implementing as we go along. Transition view for behaviors was a new one in the new year, which we managed to implement as well. And we now support team managed projects on behaviors, which was released, I'm going to say recently. I think in the last 2 months we released support for team managed projects as well. And then next one. So next up, quite a big one for us. So behaviors is about to be supported on Jira service management. The timeline for that one, where we're looking at this calendar year. I'd love to be more specific at this point, but that's all we know right now, and we'll be working on a more detailed plan once we get to understand it a little bit more as well. And we are obviously reliant on Atlassian in some aspects for this as well. So support for behaviors on JSM will be this calendar year. Somebody asked in the questions about search and filters. They'd love to be able to search and filter their behaviors. That is coming soon as well. We've got quite a nice, exciting package of UX improvements, and search and filters is included in that. So you will be able to search and filter your behaviors. And we're also introducing, Shabirah, stop me if I'm going too far off piste, that'll also support wildcard searches as well. And that also supports team managed and organization managed projects as well. So lots of in-depth searching and filters. We've included some labels in there as well, so you can quickly get to what you need. And it falls quite nicely in with the last one there. So the logs, we've improved the layout and the functionality of the logs. The reason that we're working so hard on some of the search and filters first is because we want to try and keep people in the app as much as possible. We recognize that the logs are almost a bit of a safety net when things don't go quite right, but we are making improvements to both of those at the same time, and we'll be looking to release those in the next couple of sprints from us as well. There you go. So we've got some screenshots for you there as well. So if you just go back, Maria, there we go. So you can see how the how it used to look versus how we're going to improve it as well. We know that there are still improvements to make, and we'll always seek feedback from everybody on this as well. We wanted to get something out quickly that we knew was tested and worked, and then we can improve on it as we go along, rather than just keep waiting, keep improving, and then never releasing anything as well. So we are still open to feedback. We appreciate it's not going to be perfect straight away, but we will get some value out to you as quickly as possible. And then the next one, I think, was the logs, wasn't it? There you go. So again, you can see how logs used to work on the left-hand side there, versus the first version of the newly designed logs on the right-hand side there. You can start to see some of those labels that we talked about. So where there's errors, where there's warning messages, it'll include the name and the unique identifier for your behavior as well. So you'll be able to search both of those and the date as well. So you'll be able to work back to when something was affected and quickly get to where you need to be as quickly as possible as well.
Great. So here are some ways in which you can continue learning more about ScriptRunner. Some links that my colleagues are probably sharing right now in the chat on how you can install it, how you can access our very rich templates library. By the way, if anybody, I haven't checked the chat yet, but if anybody's curious about the demos that actually Shabirah went through, we'll be including those scripts in the library as well. And yeah, and you have a little QR code to get quicker to the marketplace if you're curious about a ScriptRunner. And I don't know if you've heard, but we have recently launched our own community, ScriptRunner Loop, which is a space really for everybody. So yeah, if you fancy, you can join through the QR code. And yeah, my colleague will be sharing a link to that as well in the chat. So, time for questions. I know, Karl, you already answered one about the
Yeah.
logs and search filters.
There is one very technical question that I will definitely need Shabirah's help on, but I am happy to go through as many as I can. So the first question, and I don't know who these are from, by the way, so if anybody's got any follow-up or you even want to jump on camera on mic and ask it live or follow up on live, please let us know. The first one is, how many behaviors do your customers have on average? I can see the list becoming unwieldy, fairly quickly, so it would be nice to sort or filter on the list. So as you've seen with the upcoming release, we will be able to sort and filter on the list. On average, I don't know the exact numbers. Some people have 2 and 3. We did, however, have somebody come through support that had 750 a couple of weeks ago. So quite a range. However, it almost won't matter how many they've got once the search and filters in place as well, because navigating those will be a lot easier with that in place. Where can we get a copy of the scripts used in the use cases that are being reviewed? I think somebody shared the example scripts library and the docs as well. So when you go there, you'll see that on the left-hand side, if you select ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud, and then the app feature that you're using is Behaviours, I think we've got 50 example scripts in there. The docs is a really good place. And if you are a visual learner as well, we have a great series on YouTube done by one of our customer success managers, Bobby Bailey. He's got hours of footage talking you through pretty much anything that you'd need to know. However, if there's anything that's not on there, we are always taking requests. We update the library when we see popularity coming through. And if you join the new Loop community, it's a really good place to get examples of things that you might need from other users and us at ScriptRunner on there as well. Is there I missed number 3. Is there a natural language component with behaviors? Do we mean, sorry, I'm going to try and understand that. Are we asking what language behaviors are written in? Joshua.
That might have, I'm taking a guess here, but that might have something to do with AI or the behaviors mod. I'm not entirely sure. As in,
Hi, everybody. Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, Joshua.
Yeah, and Karl, you and I met at Teams this year.
Yeah.
And talked a little bit about this. So yeah, so for a person that doesn't have a scripting background, is there a way to type in a natural language and then it write the script for the behavior for us?
So right now, we have the example scripts. One of the problems that we are looking to tackle next is making behavior scripts easier to write. Somebody mentioned the behaviors bot before in the chat. That's the tool that we're utilizing right now. It is experimental right now, but it has proved successful. So we will be looking to see what we can do to give more people access to that, Joshua. So right now, they are the 2 ways of doing it. Shabirah, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think behavior scripts are in Groovy.
So behaviors, we use JavaScript. So obviously, as Karl mentioned, there isn't that support yet for any natural language with regards to creating behaviors. But through the use of AI, through a behaviors bot, it might be easier for people to script. In the meantime, I think those examples, as Maria mentioned, are going to be useful until that is released.
Okay. Where's the link to the bot in the chat? or is there?
So it's on our experimental page, Joshua, which is ScriptRunner Leap. It is soon to change homes where it lives, but as I said, the next problem that we are looking at as a team is how to give everybody access to that as a non-experimental tool. So we're looking to fully productionize that soon, Joshua.
Okay, because I think when you mentioned that to me at Teams, it was in your sandbox.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and I just haven't had a chance to catch up with you to try and see it. So, thank you.
That's all right. Yeah, no worries. Question the next question was the one I definitely need help with, Shabirah. So, are behaviors sustained when creating issues via the REST API? So, for example, we set components required in the field configuration and used a behavior to pre-populate a default component, but when creating an issue via the REST API, we got an error that the component field is required.
Okay, so for that one, no, it's not sustained. So behaviors only execute on your user interface when you're working with creating, viewing, or transitioning issues. So if you're creating an issue via the REST API, your behaviors won't actually be triggered, even if you're setting a default example. So yeah, that's just the design of UI modifications.
Brilliant. All right, there's another question snuck in there at the end. So, can I take action on a subtask based on when something is set on the parent? Can I take action on a subtask based on when something is set on the... I don't know who's asked that. I don't think I fully understand the question.
You should be able to trigger a behavior based on that scenario. We can maybe see if we can include some example scripts for that use case. There might already be some in the example script library.
We can follow up actually with that. I wanted to mention, sorry, to do a little mention that for Joshua being interested in at least seeing how the bot works, even if it's not widely available, we could set up a call with through customer success to show you that. So eventually we'll look something like that once we implement.
I did a live demo with Joshua Teams on the behaviors bot. Yeah. So yeah, but we are looking to fully productionize that.
Great. So I mean, I think we've covered most of it. So thank you.